The Boondocks warned us about Dr. Umar Johnson. Video by Hannibal is hungry. All right, let's go ahead and check this out, man. Let's see. The Boondocks, they stay telling the future, man.
So, what's up?
What's up? Struggle is up, brother.
Oh, God.
Oppression is up, brother.
If you don't want to be black, no problem. But can you please get the hell back? Last but not least, hit the Cash App for the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy.
Dr. Umar Johnson.
Oh,
you
God.
probably at this point see him as just a meme. The loud speeches, the
Facts.
dashikis, the
Right.
school that never opens, the fact that he keeps asking for money.
Quaker Grits is $20 million a year off black folks. Quaker Grits? Can I have your grit money for 1 year? Give me your grit money
This
for
nigga
1
want
year.
the grit money? Oh, shit. You want the grits money? You want the cornbread money? This nigga want everything.
And I will build 10 schools across this country.
But what if I told you that the
10
Boondocks
schools,
predicted all of it, even before Umar truly blew up? This video will break down how some of these characters in the show captures Umar. They capture his rise, his contradictions, and the fact that he let the black community down. So you'll
Right,
see exactly how this cartoon warned us about a real man who promised a school and delivered absolutely nothing. Well, I can't say absolutely nothing. He has delivered a lot of comedy, people making fun of him.
We don't like
Right.
nothing more than Michael Jordan. We spent more perm money than McDonald's, and you know I love a damn double fish fillet with cheese. Shamrock shake.
So when it's all said
Yeah,
and
yeah,
done,
that's why you so fat, nigga. You always got food on your mind.
a lot of this can't really be a surprise for us. Dr. Umar Johnson showed us exactly the kind of person that he is from the very beginning. The Boondocks wasn't just funny. It showed a future. It roasted
It did,
everybody.
really.
Rappers, politicians, music execs, TV execs, fake revolutionaries. No one was safe. And somehow 20 years later, it still hits. Why? Because every episode was layered with jokes on the surface, truth underneath, and a whole lot of criticism for the culture, particularly black culture.
Right,
This show
sure.
saw the BS before a lot of us did. That's why it still resonates. That's why it still circulates. That's why I still watch it as much as I can. That's why I even named my dog Riley.
Wow,
Rest in peace
damn.
to my little man.
Nah, this guy was truly a fan. It was a great show.
So this show still matters. So we're going to talk about an episode that reminded me a little bit about Dr. Umar. This episode was called Wingmen, Season 2, Episode 11. So Huey goes back to Chicago for a funeral, connects with his old best friend Cairo, and obviously instantly regrets it because Cairo is no longer the real one that Huey remembers. Now he's in full performative mode. Kufi on, Malcolm X glasses, spitting Hopetep bars like a spoken word poet that just discovered some incense. He says things like, "My brother, we must ascend past the Eurocentric gaze." And Huey is just staring at him like, bruh, what are you even talking about? And that is
Right.
kind of the point of this situation. Cairo looks the part. He talks the part. He has the wardrobe, the slogans, the righteous vocabulary, but Huey sees it through immediately. Because underneath all that conscious branding, Cairo is just cosplaying liberation. Cairo's
Right.
Afrocentric performance is the actual...
Yeah, you don't need to be doing all of this shit to be pro-black, bro. You know what I'm saying? You can just be the same person, just more educated. That's it.
arc. That's what makes it so rich, because this isn't just a roast.
You don't gotta
It's
start wearing dashikis and look, if you are into that, good. Just don't do anything for other people, bro. Do it for you. If you think dashikis look tough, then rock dashikis, bro. Be pro-black and rock dashikis. That's dope. But you don't gotta put on a performance. You feel me?
a warning. Same with Dr. Umar Johnson. You have the outfits, the fiery speeches, the loud Pan-African branding.
Maybe I need to come to Junior's in Brooklyn tonight and get my favorite meals. I can't tell y'all what they are because then the FBI will know what my favorite meals are.
Right.
We don't want that.
But when it comes down to doing something that actually helps people,
Yeah, if Dr. Umar was really a threat, he'd probably be dead by now. Huh? We see what they do to real revolutionaries. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. We see what really happens to Black Panthers. We see what really happens. This guy doesn't seem to be stressing the FBI out at all.
you know, like building a school is just crickets and cash apps.
Or the
Because
CIA, really.
at this point, Cairo, just like Umar, his words are big and powerful, but the actions don't match. That's why at this point, where the building is either going to be taken away or auctioned off or whatever. Nothing has happened. It's been over 10 years and the man has not been able to build a school, but he has been able to get the Cash Apps, the PayPals, the Venmos.
I should have been had that $2 million. I should have had that $2 million 30 days after I started the fundraiser on May the 20th. It don't make no sense. But y'all sure call me up when the school's messing with your son. Did you make a donation to my school? Oh, not yet. Bye. Click.
He's been able to have paid speeches going across the world. He's able to go on podcasts and go into radio stations and just to throw out a bunch of lines that will be clipped for social media so he can continue to have his brand and continue to make that money while the school stays closed. So this man promised a school for over a decade. He toured the country collecting donations. Millions.
Which is incredibly impressive that he was able to do that without producing anything for so long. You know what I'm saying?
Raised, websites made, promo videos posted, and yet nothing has happened. Nothing is going on. People gave their money. Parents put hope into this man's vision, and he gave them tours of empty hallways. It's the same betrayal, it's just with bigger stakes. Umar abandoned the mission. Both chose the image, the brand over impact, the ego over effort.
Somebody left a weave at my school. Which one of you beautiful African sisters left your weave bun at the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy?
Okay.
There's no possible way that Dr. Umar could be traveling around the country providing speeches and build a school at the same time. It doesn't make any sense. A lot of us probably knew that for the most part, but you thought maybe, just maybe, he has invested in the right people, in the right infrastructure, and have enough resources that he can build a school while traveling the country.
Right.
Even with LeBron James' school, I promise, the school is doing poorly. Because LeBron James doesn't know how to put a school together, it takes a lot of effort. You're not going to be able to travel the country providing speeches, going to podcasts, going to radio stations, spending hours on live, and be able to build a school. It's not possible. Or it's highly unlikely that it's going to be successful. Now, there's another episode I found was very
anything's possible, right? But clearly Umar wasn't the guy to get it done.
interesting. It's the episode of the hunger strike. This was season 2, episode 14. So Huey is fed up with BET, which I totally understand, especially at that point, and launches a hunger strike to protest how toxic the network is for the black community. And if you was watching BET at that time, it got really, really terrible. After the first owner who found BET, he sold it. And you can tell by the quality of the program, it started to slide. Actually, it just became more of a ghetto MTV. The shows were not the same how it was back in the early days of BET. It just went to more depravity. It went to more nonsense. So Huey is focused, he's serious, he says no food, no games.
Yeah, basically before we had the Zeus Network and World Star Hip Hop, BET turned into that almost.
Then in slides in Reverend Rollo Goodlove, voiced by CeeLo Green, looking like a Times Square billboard. He's got the catchphrases, the matching merch, and the whole PR team behind his activism. This also can be compared to Al Sharpton, another person that I believe is a grifter. But let's focus on...
I don't know too much about Al Sharpton to comment on the guy, but yeah, I've heard bad things about this guy.
Dr. Umar. So Huey is starving for justice. Rollo's
I don't know how much of it is true, but okay.
hungry for that brand deal, that money. He co-ops the protest with a theme song, a fake hunger strike of his own, and within days he's sitting in boardrooms, not organizing, but negotiating his own sitcom with BET. And if you think that's absurd, just look at Dr. Umar. Also, Al Sharpton has a show on MSNBC. But anyway, somewhere between building the school and saving the race, this man has basically turned into a spectacle. Now you have the Date with Dr. Umar contest.
I want to clarify the Date with the Doctor reality show that's going to be kicking off really, really soon. The Date with the Doctor reality show is really a conversation platform. It is a conversation platform where Black women and I will exchange views and opinions on various issues affecting the world, the African race.
You know, I didn't see this in the Marcus Garvey playbook, bro. I didn't see this in the Malcolm X playbook. I didn't see it in the Martin Luther King playbook. This some new shit right here. The date, the pop, the balloon activism, that's crazy.
And Black women in particular. It will be a platform where Black women can expose their brand, their business, and influence the culture of Black women and influence the culture for black women. This is going to be an uplifting.
Yeah, nah, man, this school shit is really stressing this nigga out. I mean, his hairline didn't look like this before news broke that he was losing to school. I mean, this shit's starting to creep up like this. You might have to let that one go, my boy.
Reality show. I'm calling it A Date with the Doctor because that is going to be the ambiance. That's going to be the context. That's going to be the background. It's not a real date. Let me say this again. I am not looking for a wife.
Things are bad. Things are bad, not going good. You can tell when things aren't going good when you're explaining yourself a bunch.
Live streams airing out family drama, shouting down critics, and blaming conspiracies for every single issue in his life. No foreplan, no timelines, just more donations and more drama.
Right.
It's not a movement anymore. It's a one-man reality show.
Stop looking for free shit, okay? I got 6 degrees. I'm a real doctor, not the fake ones on YouTube. You understand? Real credentials, real school psychologist. Stop looking for free shit from me.
We can afford.
So why you begging for money? Why you begging for donations then?
To purchase the HVAC unit for the school and the gym. We can afford to purchase the HVAC material. We cannot afford to pay for the labor. It is the labor, brothers and sisters. It is the labor, brothers and sisters.
And just like Rollo, he's using the language of liberation to sell a product, himself. What started as a mission for black boys turned into a non-stop Umar tour. His mic is in his hand, his ego is unchecked, and the school is nowhere in sight. So let's line it up. Cairo showed us fake Afrocentrism. Rollo showed us fake activism. And Dr. Umar, he's basically the remix. He has the Cairo look, the Rollo hustle, and enough charisma to make both look legit until you actually check the scoreboard. It's like Umar giving a really passionate speech, but then start plugging in his Cash App and his Venmo and all the speeches he's gonna do so you guys can come because he's gonna get that big speech fee. So this is the moment where the joke stops being funny. Because the creator of Boondocks, Aaron Magruder, gave us these characters as a warning, exaggerated archetypes to roast the hustlers of the culture. But somehow many of us ignored the warning.
Time is running out. And a lot of black people say that, but for real. Part of why the civil rights movement has been so successful, and part of why those who have come after in terms of our leadership have been able to maintain a presence, is that black people have always had a certain amount of moral currency that we have been using. And let me be the first to tell you, that's used up. White America
Can't be. Because he's speaking to, and I'm a fan of his artistry, obviously. The Boondocks was an amazing show. But you gotta be careful with statements like that. We've used up our moral currency with white people? You mean the people that enslaved the black people for hundreds of years and then implemented Jim Crow and then implemented fucking just a variety of racist tactics and strategies to handicap the black community? We're supposed to be concerned about using up moral currency with these people? That's bullshit, dude. Listen, there is no such thing as moral currency, first and foremost. People don't do things because they think you're a moral person. That's charity. That's being nice. Real power is taken. It is taken by first claiming the power that we all have within us to achieve anything that we focus our minds upon. That's where the real power is. So I couldn't give 2 shits about moral currency being used up. For instance, the stereotype that black men are violent. I've said this statistic multiple times now. Currently, less than 1% of the entire black population is in prison. Which means, right? So it's about 60% of black people that are in prison, between 50 and 60% are in prison for violent crimes. Well, when you have 40 million black people in the country, they make up such a tiny, tiny percentage of the population. And the same can be said for any negative stereotype or archetype you want to pick out of the black culture or black community. The grand majority, not just of black people, but turns out all people, are decent people that are just minding their business, that want to pay their bills and have a good time on the weekends. That's most people. So yeah, honestly, this kind of sentiment, we've used up moral currency, it's very white centered. It's very, oh, we need the white man to save us. We don't.
Has been watching us act like fools for a long enough time where any sympathy they may have had to our plight is completely gone.
Now, I've never donated anything to Dr. Umar, never will. But at the same time, people are nice and people want to be generous and people want to follow a dream. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. So the Boondocks is just a show, fictional characters, cartoons, right? But Umar, he took real money and left real damage, because when a man like this steps up dressed as the revolutionary, shouting Pan-African slogans, it's not just about him, it stains the whole cause. He didn't just break promises, he broke belief. And this has ripple effects across our community, the Black community, because many people believe that this system is failing us. Public schools fail us. You say the healthcare is failing us.
Right.
You say the government is failing us.
Yeah.
So when someone shows up claiming that they're going to do something different, people listen, people donate, people hope. And when that person turns out to be a grifter, that hope collapses into cynicism. And when the next organizer has to work twice as hard to prove that they're real, the next grassroots project struggles to raise money because folks remember the last time they got played. And meanwhile, Umar keeps going. He's still going to be loud, still dress up, still asking for money.
For sure.
Still spinning the dream of a school while the school is basically being taken away from him. That's not just a failed project, that's trauma. It's a reason why many people mock Pan-Africanism. Not because they disagree necessarily, it's because it turned into a hustle. It turned into a way to make money. That's why people joke about woke scammers instead of rooting for real leaders. So it isn't really harmless. It's not just memes and bad faith speeches. It's about the trust and the damage done when you steal it in the name of progress. But let me know, you guys.
Yeah, man. So here's the issue. I call out racism, right? When I see it in pop culture things. And I talk about the realities and the impact of white supremacy and what it's had on the Black community. And by the same time, I say we are all the masters of our reality. And anything that you want to attain, you have all the power that you need already within you to attain that thing. And so people have a hard time reconciling these two things. When I call out racism, I'm calling it out not with the sentiment that the solution to Black people advancing in this country is racism being done away with. Would that accelerate the progress of the Black community? Of course. Would programs being put in place, would reparations, would all these things accelerate the progress in the Black community? Of course. But at the same time, each one of us as individuals are equipped. You don't need anyone to save you. And that's the problem that we ran into with Dr. Umar. A lot of Black people thought that we need a savior. We need a guy to be putting money into, and he's going to just fix everyone's problems. The most reliable way to attain significant changes in your life is to shift your mindset, change your mindset. I spoke about this in my previous video that I just dropped about the 40-year-old who feels as if he's wasted his life. You need to live from the end. You need to align yourself with your desired reality on an individual basis or on an individual level. If you do that, your reality will shift to align with the mindset that you have. If you want more on that, go watch the previous video. Of course, like the Bible says, my people perish for a lack of knowledge. That knowledge, that understanding, believing that is not something that a poor person living in a ghetto somewhere is privy to. That's not something they know. It's not something they understand. And most importantly, it's not something that they believe. And furthermore, it is hard to convince a man who is hungry and struggling and in constant fight or flight mode of this truth. It's the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's hard. You can't see, like, when you're a rich, privileged person, or even just someone who lives in lower middle class and above, you can't just say, oh, well, why don't you just study? Don't you know if you study and you get good grades, you get a scholarship, and then you get a degree, and then you get to work, and you make a lot of money? Yeah, but that's easy for you because you have that mindset that is grounded in the context of lights were always on, food was always in the fridge. You weren't worried that if you were going to walk outside your door, you might get robbed or shot. You formed that idea, that opinion, that belief that all you have to do is study and you can get ahead in school and thus have a good career and take yourself out of the hood. You know, you pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. But you're doing that again with, you had a loving parent or two parents even that were telling you to study and telling you, you know, if you just focus, I believe in you, son. You're a smart kid. If you just focus and pay attention in class and do your homework and blah, 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 and you'll make it. That's not the reality of somebody who is hungry and anxious, and they're not going to believe you. And so that's where we, as individuals who have been privileged to be born into whatever timeline or reality or families we've been born into, that landed us where we are today, with the understanding that we as individuals have all the power we need to actualize whatever realities it is that we truly focus upon, truly desire. We then need to implement programs for those who are less fortunate, who aren't in an environment where they can grab onto this understanding and grab onto this reality. And some do, but not a lot aren't able to. If we can come together as more fortunate people and put programs and things in place that make it easier for the people at the very bottom to get to that just baseline level of, you know what I'm saying, I'm good, right? I'm not just barely trying to survive. Well, it puts these people in a position where they are more receptive to what can be, what is possible. This is why programs at schools that give poor children free lunch is so important. This is why food pantries are important. This is why women's shelters are important. This is why various forms of social welfare are important. If it is that we want people to ascend, getting up on the internet and chastising the lowest of any group of people and thinking that this is how we hold them accountable. Oh, black culture this, black fatigue that. The problem is they're not being held accountable. No, fuckface, that's not going to do shit. It has never done shit. It will never do shit. So how do we bring this back around to Dr. Umar in conclusion, right? The whole idea behind, the problem is Dr. Umar, his whole thing is the problem with the black community is white people. That's the problem. Anybody who makes any external thing the problem, it does not have a solution for you. If Dr. Umar took that 1 point however many million dollars, I think he raised something like 1.2 or 1.6 million dollars. If he took that money and, for instance, instead was producing documentaries and movies that in a very entertaining and captivating way educated more black people on their history and also guided people to understand the power that they have within them, should they focus their mind and focus their energy on the things that they want to actualize, he would have made far more progress in empowering the black community. Okay, let's say even if he had built this school, how many kids can go to the school? We have 40 million black people in America. How is him building this one school, even if he built 10 schools? Now, would it make a difference if the schools turned out perfectly as many people who donated to his cause would have dreamed they would have turned out? Yeah, they would have made a difference, no doubt about it. But what do you do if you're a black kid and you live on the other side of the country? How do you benefit from that? You're just going to wait till Dr. Umar gets around to building another school in that kid's area? And I tell you what, even if he had successfully built these schools, they still would have failed, because at the center of the central thrust of the mission of these schools, as I understand it, and maybe I'm wrong, but as I understood it, is the problem is white people. It still puts you in a victim mindset. See, I do believe that a victim mindset is bad. Victims are a real thing. Black America is the victim of white supremacy. That's a fact. That's objective. You can understand that and see from a historical point of view how all of those things are true, and or how that's true in so many ways, while still empowering yourself with the understanding, the mindset that you can attain anything that you focus on. This is why the Asian community, for instance, or many immigrant communities, like Nigerians come here and prosper, people from the Caribbean come here and prosper, Asians have done it, lots of people have done it without needing some kind of special school. In fact, Asians historically have been incredibly underrepresented in politics, for instance, right? You don't have a lot of Asian senators and House of Representatives, definitely no Asian vice presidents or presidents, yet their community has risen significantly. Why? It's because they had the right mindset. But we can't blame poor black people for not having that mindset. Why? Because unlike the Asians, a lot of these black people who find themselves at the bottom of the ladder, right? They are the product of generations of the worst kind of oppression and trauma, unlike these Asians who came here with a plan, who came here with a support system, who came here with the belief that they can attain whatever they set their minds to. The prison is mental. It's all mental. The universe is mental. But you let me know what you think in the comment section down below.